When heavenly tribulation descends, even the strongest must bow or be reduced to ash. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Half a month later, the stone door of the secret chamber creaked, open of its own accord. Hanli stepped out slowly, his expression serene and unruffled, as though the passage of time within had left no trace upon him. A flash of silver light shimmered just beyond the doorway. The humanoid puppet emerged, now indistinguishable from Hanli in every detail, its features bearing even its aura perfectly mirrored his own. Hanli cast it a brief glance, and a faint smile tugged at his lips. Raising a hand, he gently touched his forehead. At once a second nascent soul surfaced, hovering before him. Its tiny face was utterly devoid of emotion. Its form swayed slightly, then shot forward in a streak of black light, vanishing seamlessly into the body of the humanoid puppet. Moments later, the puppet's lifeless eyes flickered and then blinked. Vitality surged through it. What had once been an empty shell now stood as though alive, its presence no different from that of a true human being. Hanli rubbed his hands together, clearly pleased. Not bad. Exactly as I envisioned. By employing the secret technique recorded in the Yao's Great Development Treasure Scriptures, I've infused the second nascent soul into the puppet, allowing it to act as its vessel. From now on, distance will no longer hinder my control. So long as I avoid overly prolonged journeys, the puppet can remain here in the cave abode, guarded by the second nascent soul. A childlike voice tinged with faint disapproval suddenly drifted from within his sleeve. A clever stroke indeed, fellow Taoist Han. But are you not concerned? If that second nascent soul regains independent sentience, it would possess a vessel at the late nascent soul stage. Retrieving it then would be no easy matter. Hanli's expression remained calm. I've already considered that risk. That is precisely why I will employ several restriction techniques I recently mastered after advancing to the late nascent soul stage. I'll also make certain modifications to the puppet itself. Unless its spiritual sense surpasses that of my primary nascent soul, which is highly unlikely, I can immobilize it at any moment. A soft chuckle followed. Heh. It seems you've prepared thoroughly. My concerns were unnecessary. Even so, your intentions are appreciated. Hanli replied. Now then, will you undergo your lightning tribulation here among these interconnected peaks? Or would you prefer another location? The small child hesitated briefly before answering with tactful caution. This place may not be suitable. Even the restrictions here cannot conceal the descent of a metamorphosis stage lightning tribulation. While I trust your abilities, it would be wiser to find a more secluded location. Very well, Hanli agreed without objection. I'll visit Wana first, then we'll depart. He left the cave abode and made his way to the drifting cloud sect, where he checked on Nangong Wan's cultivation. A day later he departed once more, streaking westward as a beam of azure light. 5 days passed. Hanli appeared above a vast expanse of barren plains, lifeless, silent, and desolate. Not a single blade of grass grew upon the land. Yellow soil stretched endlessly in all directions, broken only by scattered grey-white stones of varying sizes. It was a place utterly devoid of vitality. Releasing his spiritual sense, Hanli swept the surrounding tens of thousands of kilometers. There was nothing, no cultivators, no mortals, not even the faintest trace of life. With a flick of his sleeve, a small cauldron wrapped in azure light flew out. How about here? He said. This is the dead land between the state of Xi and the state of Huayu. Within hundreds of thousands of kilometers, there is no one. A perfect place for your tribulation. From within the cauldron came an excited reply. Excellent. Release my true body. I'll meditate for 3 days, then I'll be ready. Very well. Hanli flicked a finger. With a soft thud, the cauldron lid flew open. The vessel tilted, releasing a surge of azure light within which a small demon beast emerged, no larger than half a foot, with the head of a cow and the body of a worm. The moment it appeared, its form expanded dramatically, growing to several dozen feet in length. Azure light shimmered across its entire body like flowing water. "I'll trouble you to guard me," it said in its childlike voice. Its serpentine body coiled gracefully before, descending onto a large white rock, where it settled into stillness. Hanli said nothing. He simply descended onto a nearby rock and sat, cross-legged, eyes closed, entering quiet meditation. Thus, they remained 3 days and 3 nights, passing in silence. At dawn on the 4th day, both opened their eyes simultaneously. "My magic power has reached its peak condition," the Endless Sky Beast said solemnly. "I have a 60 to 70% chance of success. You need not intervene at the beginning, only if difficulties arise later. If you can help me withstand the final 3 waves, I would be deeply grateful." "I understand," Hanli replied. "Before you begin, take this." He produced a small, profound ice vial radiating chilling chi and tossed it over. The beast caught it puzzled. Upon examining its contents, its eyes widened. "Glacial quintessence. I never imagined you possessed such a treasure. I obtained it in the Great Jin," Hanli said calmly. "You taught me the beveled silver text. This is my return. A single drop should suffice." "More than enough," the beast exclaimed, clearly delighted. "Even in the spirit realm, such a treasure is exceedingly rare. I will remember this kindness." Hanli merely smiled. With a wave of his hand, formation flags and plates appeared. He swiftly began arranging a complex restriction formation. In less than 10 minutes, the formation was complete. Layers of white mist rose, cloaking the area entirely. "This should prevent unforeseen disturbances," Hanli said. "I'll remain outside and assist if necessary. The initial waves are yours to handle." "Of course," the beast replied. "Heavenly lightning cannot be blocked by mortal formations." "Ah, but this tribulation may benefit you as well." Hanli raised an eyebrow. "Oh," the Endless Sky Beast chuckled and transmitted its voice directly. As Hanli listened, confusion flickered across his face, then gradually gave way to excitement. "If that is true, then this is indeed a rare opportunity," he said. "I happen to possess a suitable treasure. Just ensure your timing is precise," the beast warned. "A single misstep could bring harm instead of benefit." "I won't act rashly." "I expected no less," it said. "Now then, I shall summon the heavenly lightning. Were it not for my concealment techniques, the tribulation would have descended the moment I left the cauldron." With that, it slowly rose into the air. Hanli's heart stirred. He immediately withdrew from the formation, watching intently, blue light flickering in his eyes through the dense mist. The beast ascended over 300 feet, then halted. A low rumbling snort echoed from its nostrils. Azure light erupted violently across its body, while grey demonic winds coiled around it like living things concealing its form. Hanli's expression shifted slightly. Then, a thunderous roar tore through the sky. Demonic chi surged upward like a tidal wave. The beast's body swelled several-fold, its presence expanding with overwhelming force. It was no longer restraining itself. The full might of an 8th-grade demon beast was unleashed. In the next instant, thunder exploded across the previously cloudless sky. Dark clouds gathered from nothingness, churning and swallowing the heavens. Gale-force winds swept across thousands of kilometers and rain began to pour in torrents. Hanli clicked his tongue softly in amazement. This land had long been known as a dead zone, so dry that rain might not fall for decades. Yet now, in mere moments, the climate had transformed completely. The power of a metamorphosis stage lightning. Tribulation was truly terrifying. Above, the dark clouds roiled violently. Arcs of lightning as thick as human arms writhed. Within them, each flash accompanied by deafening thunder. Gradually, vast nets of lightning began to take shape. Hanli narrowed his eyes, watching in silence. At that moment, A deafening roar erupted from within the formation. The grey demonic winds surged violently, transforming into a towering hurricane that spiraled into the sky, threatening to pierce the storm clouds themselves and tear apart the lightning within. A thunderous boom split the heavens as a bolt of lightning cleaved downward from the dark clouds, vast and merciless like a celestial blade, striking directly at the apex of the demonic hurricane. Silver radiance erupted. The greyish-white tempest shuddered violently, then was torn apart down its very centre as though sundered by an invisible sword. In the same instant, both lightning and storm vanished, leaving only silence in their wake. The demon beast was revealed once more. Now it had coiled itself into a tight sphere. Its form had subtly changed to fleshy purple. Wings had sprouted from its body, while a pair of muscular green arms extended from its sides, lending it an even more grotesque and formidable appearance. Hanley studied it for a long moment, his gaze deep and probing. Yet no matter how he searched his memory, he could not associate this creature with any of the legendary heavenly spirit beasts he had ever heard of. Above, the endless sky beast lifted its gaze toward the churning heavens. Its newly formed wings gave a slow, deliberate flap. With each movement, a sphere of demonic chi condensed around it, until in the blink of an eye, its entire form was swallowed by dense, swirling grey mist. The storm overhead seemed to reach a point of no return. With deafening thunder, arcs of lightning each thicker than a man's arm came crashing down in relentless succession. They fell like a torrential storm, blanketing an area spanning over 5 kilometers. Even Han Li, who stood at a distance, was caught within the domain of destruction. He let out a quiet breath, fingers forming a swift hand seal. A dull rumble echoed as a net of golden lightning sprang into existence above him. It expanded in an instant, unfurling into a vast canopy that shielded his entire body beneath its radiant lattice. A bolt of lightning struck it head-on. Gold and silver clashed in a brief, dazzling flare, then vanished without a trace. The golden net quivered faintly, yet remained utterly intact. Hanley paid it no further mind. His narrowed gaze remained fixed upon the churning mass of grey demonic chi above. Though he had been swept into the periphery of the storm, the overwhelming majority of lightning strikes were directed toward the beast itself, the very heart of the tempest. The bolts descending upon it far surpassed anything Han Li had to endure. With his spirit eyes, he saw clearly the grey-white mist had been completely drowned in silver light. Lightning fell like an unending rain, leaving no space to evade. Outwardly, Han Li remained calm, his expression unchanged, but inwardly, he was astonished. He had once witnessed a metamorphosis stage. Lightning tribulation in the scattered star seized the very one that had claimed the life of the demonic tortoise he had slain. Yet compared to the spectacle before him, that event seemed almost insignificant. And that had been the final phase of that tribulation. This was only the beginning. Just how terrifying would the final stages of this tribulation become? Could it be that different demon beasts faced entirely different magnitudes of heavenly punishment? As the thought crossed his mind, Han Li realized how little was truly known. Records of demon beast tribulations in the human world were scarce, fragmented, and frustratingly vague. Such tribulations belonged solely to demon kind, and held no relevance to human cultivators. Thus, they had been largely ignored, and even if one were curious, the chance to witness such an event was exceedingly rare. After all, demon beasts were at their weakest after transcending a tribulation. There was no way they would allow a human cultivator to observe from nearby. Though puzzled, Han Li did not dwell on it. At his current level of power, this tribulation posed no real threat to him. After a sustained barrage, the thunder above briefly subsided. From below, Han Li saw that the grey demonic chi had been nearly torn apart, reduced to a thin, tattered veil. Seizing the moment, The endless sky beast rapidly formed hand seals, its wings beating furiously. At the same time, it opened its massive jaws, releasing torrents of demonic chi. In an instant, a new sphere of chi several times denser than before formed around it, sealing it once more in protection. Its expression remained composed, unhurried, as though it had long anticipated such ferocity. A faint smile flickered across Han Li's face. It seemed the early stages would not trouble the beast. There would be no need for him to intervene yet. Still, the opportunity the beast had mentioned earlier weighed heavily on his mind. He could not afford to miss it. With that thought, he tapped his storage pouch. Several treasures of varying hues shot forth, landing neatly before him in a straight line. A yellow gourd, a pristine white bow, an azure jade vial. All were container-type treasures. At that very moment, thunder roared once more. The second wave descended. This time the lightning was far denser, the arcs thicker, more violent, painting an even more terrifying spectacle across the sky. Yet Han Li no longer paid attention to the tribulation. He sat down, legs crossed, eyes closed, his entire being entering a state of quiet focus, preparing for what was to come. 2 hours passed. The endless sky beast endured 6 consecutive waves of lightning, each more devastating than the last. By the third wave, the lightning arcs had swollen to 5 feet in, thickness cascading like a river of silver light. Even Han Li's carefully constructed formation had begun to show signs of damage. And yet, the golden net formed from his divine devil bane. Lightning remained flawless, unwavering. From the 4th wave onward, the beast could no longer rely on endurance alone. It unleashed another technique, its body expanding beyond 100 feet in the length. The demonic chi it exhaled shifted in nature, its former grey-white hue transforming into a brilliant silvery white, eerily akin to lightning itself. What was truly astonishing, however, was its effect. Whenever this chi collided with descending lightning, the sharp clang of metal echoed through the air. Most of the lightning was repelled outright, leaving only a fraction to strike the beast directly. Even Han Li, seated below, opened his eyes in surprise. The silvery white chi shimmered with an icy brilliance, cold-piercing and strangely familiar. Could it be the glacial quintessence? He wondered. Has it already refined it to this extent? With this newfound power, the pressure on the endless sky beast lessened considerably, allowing it to withstand yet another wave. But when the 7th wave arrived, its expression darkened. The clouds roared as if alive, surging with violent intent. Massive lightning nets descended all at once, illuminating the heavens in blinding silver. Thunder drowned out all sound, leaving nothing but the roar of destruction. It was as though the world itself had been reduced to pure lightning. At that moment, the beast's voice sounded in Han Li's mind. Fellow Taoist Han, this tribulation is far more powerful than I anticipated. I can only endure 2 more waves alone. For the final 3, I will need your help. Do not worry, Han Li replied calmly. I will act when the time comes. Relief flooded the beast's voice. My thanks. I will not forget this. The lightning nets descended in relentless succession, unleashing countless arcs that battered the silvery chi. Though much was repelled, what slipped through remained overwhelming in number. The protective chi visibly diminished half of it, erased by the end of the 7th wave. Yet the beast showed no sign of faltering, immediately replenishing it with fresh torrents of demonic chi. Then, the 8th wave descended. The lightning nets were twice as large, crashing down with apocalyptic force. The earth trembled. Golden light flickered across the surface of the chi as explosions rang out without end. Han Li frowned slightly but quickly regained his composure. He rose to his feet, eyes scanning the sky, as though searching for something. Then suddenly, his expression shifted. His gaze snapped toward a distant point. A strange glint surfaced in his eyes. How interesting. I didn't expect such a creature. to exist in the heavenly south region. Without hesitation, his fingers flicked rapidly. 10 crimson threads shot into the earth and vanished. He looked down, a cold smile forming. The ground erupted. With a blood-curdling howl, the earth split open as massive chunks of soil exploded skyward. From beneath, a colossal creature burst forth. Its upper body was tightly bound by the crimson, threads which burned with fierce flames, coiling around it multiple times and scorching its flesh. It writhed in agony, its roars echoing across the land. Only now did Han Li see it clearly. A massive worm-like entity, yellow in color, yet its upper body was covered in countless writhing fleshy tendrils of varying sizes thrashing wildly. But what drew the eye most was the enormous golden horn atop its head, gleaming with dazzling brilliance. Even more astonishing, whenever lightning struck near it, the horn would flash violently, drawing in the lightning and devouring it completely. Han Li's eyes narrowed, a rare trace of confusion surfacing. A narwhal worm. But how could it be this large? And its horn, shouldn't it be white? Before him, the enraged colossus howled, bound in flame and fury beneath the storm-torn sky. The massive narwhal worm let out a shrill, agonized howl. Its smooth head suddenly split open, revealing a grotesque, cavernous maw lined with rows of jagged, vicious fangs. Silver light flared within, and in the next instant, an immensely thick bolt of lightning erupted from its mouth. The heavenly lightning that had once been drawn in through its golden horn like a natural conduit was now unleashed as a devastating counterattack. Its target, none other than Han Li. Its developed intelligence as well. Han Li's eyes lit up not with alarm, but with keen interest. Seems we have a mutated spirit beast on our hands. Rather than retreat, he rubbed his hands together in delight before thrusting both palms forward. 2 arcs of lightning, each as thick as his arm, shot forth and collided head-on with the incoming silver bolt. A deafening explosion followed. Golden and silver lightning intertwined like colossal serpents locked in combat. Sparks scattered in all directions as spheres of crackling energy detonated between Han Li and the worm. In the end, the two forces annihilated each other completely, vanishing into nothingness. The worm only grew more enraged. Brilliant light burst forth from its golden horn, drawing in vast swathes of heavenly lightning from the surrounding sky. The arc surged toward it in a frenzy, as though the creature were gathering power for an even more fearsome strike. Yet Han Li merely let out a cold chuckle. He opened his mouth and a small golden sword flew out. In the blink of an eye, it expanded into a radiant streak nearly 10 feet long, slicing through the air with terrifying speed as it hurtled straight toward the worm's head. The worm seemed to sense the danger. Yellow light flared across its body as it attempted to burrow back underground. But at that very moment, the fire spirit thread binding it blazed crimson and abruptly thickened, transforming into a rope as wide as a tree trunk. Flames roared forth from the rope, engulfing most of the creature's upper body in an instant. Shock and fear flickered through the worm's movements. Its golden horn ceased absorbing lightning and instead unleashed a flood of golden radiance, sweeping across the flames. As the golden light passed, vast swathes of fire were stripped away, absorbed directly into the horn. It could devour lightning. It could devour flames. But even so, by the time it had dispersed most of the fire, the golden streak of swordlight had already arrived. It swelled into a massive blade mid-flight, crashing down with overwhelming force. The worm whipped its head violently. Its golden horn expanded to more than twice its original size, meeting the descending sword head-on. Clang! The impact rang like the tolling of a heavenly bell. Blinding golden light burst outward. The sword was knocked back, yet the horn remained, completely unscathed. And then a streak of azure lightning flashed above the worm. Han Li appeared out of thin air, Thunderstorm wings unfurled behind him like a storm-given form. With a casual sweep of his hand, another surge of golden sword chi shot downward at blinding speed. Before the worm could react, a hole the size of a bowl was punched clean through its body. Green blood erupted from the wound. Yet the creature was far too massive. Such an injury, fatal to any ordinary cultivator, meant little to it. Instead, the pain only drove it into greater frenzy. With a deafening roar, the countless fleshy tendrils on its upper body writhed violently, transforming into long, whip-like appendages that lashed upward toward Hanli. Hanli's expression darkened. He formed a hand seal instantly. A dozen small golden swords appeared around him, circling rapidly and weaving together into a shimmering barrier of sword light. The tendrils struck and were shredded into fragments of flesh and green blood before they could even come close. Unharmed, untouchable, Hanli began to chant softly, then pointed downward. The golden swords trembled. Each one split into 6 identical streaks of light, multiplying into dozens in an instant. At his command, they surged downward like a rain of blades. The worm froze for a split second, then reacted in panic. Its maw gaped wide, unleashing torrents of silver lightning and crimson flames in a desperate attempt to repel the incoming assault. Explosions rang out in rapid succession. Some of the golden streaks were destroyed, but most broke through. Before the worm could respond, the surviving streaks converged with a resounding chime, forming a colossal golden sword over 100 feet long. It flashed once and swept around the worm's midsection like a bolt of divine judgment. A heart-wrenching scream tore from the creature's throat. Green blood cascaded like a waterfall. Its massive body had been cleaved cleanly in two. Yet, just as Hanli prepared to withdraw his attack, the unexpected occurred. The upper half of the worm's body suddenly launched itself skyward, its maw gaping wide as it lunged toward him. At the same time, yellow light flared from the severed lower half. Countless tendrils erupted from its flesh, rapidly reshaping it until it became identical to the upper half. With a heavy boom, it plunged into the earth and vanished. Hanli faltered for only a moment. Then his brows lifted slightly, and his hands formed another seal. Explode. At his command, the fiery rope binding the upper half ignited in a burst of crimson brilliance and detonated. A thunderous explosion followed, forming a towering mushroom cloud that engulfed the creature entirely. Its agonized shrieks echoed within, but even its miraculous horn could not absorb such overwhelming flames in so short a time. At the same moment, the massive golden sword swept through the cloud. Like lightning, the screaming ceased. Green blood rained down from the sky. 2 charred, smoking chunks of flesh plummeted heavily to the ground, releasing a foul, acrid stench. Hanli calmly extended his spiritual sense. He quickly located the other half of the worm, beneath the earth only a few kilometers away, moving sluggishly. Whether slowed by injury or naturally slow, it mattered little. It had not escaped far, and that made things convenient. Hanli tapped his spirit beast pouch. A deafening buzz filled the air as a swarm of golden beetles poured forth, forming a shimmering cloud above him. He pointed downward. The swarm plunged to the ground, then split into countless motes of golden light, vanishing into the soil. Hanli turned away, his attention shifting back to the battlefield. With a gesture, the massive mushroom cloud rapidly shrank, condensing once more into the fiery rope, though its flames now burned noticeably dimmer. With another wave, the rope split into 10 slender threads, each hovering quietly in the air. Hanli exhaled a stream of azure light, drawing the fire spirit threads back into his body. Only then did he turn his gaze toward the charred remains below. With a flick of his hand, a streak of golden light shot upward and halted abruptly before him. It was the worm's horn. Though small compared to the creature's colossal body, It still measured 5 to 6 feet in length. Golden light shimmered across its surface, faint, mysterious runes flickering within. Hanli studied it with narrowed eyes. Curiosity stirred, but now was not the time. With a few incantation seals, the horn shrank rapidly to the size of a dagger. He affixed a restriction talisman to it, placed it into a wooden box and stored it away. Only then did he clap his hands lightly, a satisfied smile appearing on his face. Suddenly, a patch of earth over 5 kilometers away erupted. The remaining half of the worm burst from the ground, but its body was riddled with countless points of golden light. Thousands of gold-devouring beetles clung to its flesh, devouring it alive. The creature screamed in agony, thrashing wildly, crashing to the ground, rolling and writhing in a desperate attempt to dislodge them. It was futile. The beetles burrowed through its flesh, tearing into it from within, pain beyond measure, like thousands of blades carving through its body. Driven mad, the worm surged into the air, plunged into the earth, rose again and again. But it could not escape. At last, mid-flight, its body stiffened. It fell and did not rise again. Hanli let out a quiet breath. Then he turned his gaze back toward the endless sky beast. The tribulation still raged. Lightning continued to descend in ceaseless torrents. Azure arcs crackled across Hanli's thunderstorm, wings deflecting any stray strikes that dared approach him. The storm had weakened. Compared to earlier, the lightning nets had grown sparse. The endless sky beast had endured the 8th wave. Now, it was time for Hanli to act. But before moving, he suddenly raised his head. Blue light flickered in his eyes as he stared intently into the heavens, as though searching for something unseen. Then, the lightning ceased. A strange, fragrant aroma drifted down from the clouds. The dark mass above churned and parted, revealing a full moon, round and flawless like a disk of jade. It hung in the sky, radiating a soft, ethereal glow. And that scent, it emanated from the moon itself.